Easily the most exciting '03 refractor LeBron that I think we brokered in our time. This is the card that for us is the premier parallel of the premier blue chip mainstream issue of LeBron. Topps Chrome is just, it's just one of these brands that I think transcends all the other sports. It's just that mainstream production that we tend to reference most of the market and its growth, relative to. So what we have here is the premier LeBron rookie, in our opinion, from a blue chip status. This is the one that has all the data, all the liquidity. For those who are true investors, this is the card which really feeds the masses, and offered here is the premier parallel of that base issue, Topps Chrome. The refractor will always be that highly coveted special, parallel from that base issue, and offered here is the finest copy that we've ever brokered in our history. Assessed as a 10 by Beckett, one of very few copies to achieve that status. And as it sits, it's a virtually perfect card with maybe just about a 1 point at most centering shift right to left, and that's about all we can see that keeps the card from being, eligible for what Beckett would call a black label. This is just an incredibly important card that, as the market matures, the supply and demand, the mismatch that exists is so pronounced on these cards. The ratio of supply and demand and how awkward it is actually peaked higher on these issues than it is on even the more elaborate, exquisite productions. And that's the reason why we see such a meteoric rise in price, is the supply and demand is actually more out of whack for these, simply because even though there's more Topps Chromes out there and Topps Chrome refractors, the demand is also infinitely higher. And that's the catch that people aren't necessarily thinking clearly about, and that's the reason why base issues are rising in price so fast. It's not because they're less rare, or that they're more rare, I should say. It's because the demand is higher. It's this awkward reality that no matter how many cards are out there, there just simply aren't enough, because at the end of the day, LeBron James alone has 69 million followers on Instagram. And even if, one out of a tiny fraction of those is actually in a position to be able to afford any of his rookie cards, you can start to imagine how, even if there's 1,000 of something, or 2,000 or 10,000 of something, how that number is just so trivial compared to the millions of potential investors that exist out there. So these are the cards that really set in motion what for us is the pinnacle upon which the market is measured. Absolutely delighted to feature this copy. It's the best of the best from an investment perspective.